Good afternoon, Big Brother fans. So, it is Tuesday afternoon, August 6th, and this is my second podcast of the day. In my morning podcast, I asked a question at the end about whether you guys would be interested in me doing more than one a day, since I did 3 yesterday, and I did 1 on the weekend, trying to get a sense. I haven't had anybody message me and say, I wish you would do a bunch of short ones, or I only want 1 a day. I have had several people say multiple ones a day would be okay. 2, morning, afternoon. I did have some say morning, afternoon, evening. Someone else specifically mentioned having ones on the weekends about the power veto. I get that because that does happen. A lot happens on the weekend, and in the past, a lot of times you don't hear from me from Friday till Monday. So I think what I'm going to try to do, and we'll do it as a test run this week, and we'll see how good I am about it, is I will do 2 a day at least the rest of the week. And I'll try to do at least 1, if not 2, on the weekend to update you on what is going on with the power veto. All right, so maybe we'll get a nomination on Fridays if they get to it. If not, we'll probably have a pretty darn good idea of what's going to happen, and then we'll do updates. Now, next week may be completely crazy with the AI power, because if Quinn stays, chances are he's using the AI power. Speaking of the AI power, well, let's talk about what's going on in the house right now. So it's been a boring day. Straight up. Not a whole lot is going on since I last talked to you. So those of you that are looking for news, a lot of stuff, you should listen to my first podcast of the day, my morning. I talked about all the stuff, the blow-ups that happened and all that from yesterday. Not a whole lot is going on today. The house guests have been very quiet. Now understand, the house guests have been up mostly for just touching on 6 hours, right? They got their wake-up call around noon, Big Brother time. And at this point, or Eastern time, and around now, we're approaching 6 o'clock. So they haven't done a whole lot, but the keeping an eye on what's going on, and from what I've seen, they have not done a whole lot. It's been quiet. There have been a little bit of alliance talk, but again, still just not a ton. It's been house guests sitting around talking about recipes, talking about why they're in the Big Brother house, who they're playing for, kind of stuff that will be shown on the tinkly music, fillers that happen later in the season when you're trying to get to know the house guests a little bit better. As far as alliances go, there was a little bit of thought that MJ is trying to get some kind of an alliance working maybe with Tucker. They're trying to turn some people against each other. I would say that, again, the Pentagon alliance, which is Cam, Cedric, Chelsea, and then Quinn and Brooklyn. That one seems probably the most solid. Again, remember, because Quinn and Cam talked to them before the whole meeting yesterday when things blew up. So they kind of knew what was going on, and they knew what Tucker was trying to pull, what Tucker and Kenny were trying to pull. And then you also have the collective alliance, which is those 5 and the addition of Chemo, Joseph, and Takor. So that is I would say those are the 2 strongest alliances if you went from, a 5 and to an 8. An 8. Wow, that's pretty big. An 8-person alliance at this point. We'll see how long it sticks together, if it does. But again, those 3, Chemo, Joseph, and Takor, are on the outside of that center, that smaller alliance, the Pentagon, which is also built on the CCC, the core alliance of Cam, Cedric, and Chelsea. So we'll see. I mean, if you go with those alliances and think that they're the strongest ones, it's possible to say that, the winner may come from that Pentagon alliance if they all manage to stick together. But there's a lot more people still in the house, and there are things that could happen, including possibly Quinn getting voted out on Friday, right? That could happen. What else? So quiet afternoon. I did just turn on the feeds a little bit when I jumped into my car, and I caught Chelsea and Joseph talking in the backyard, and Takor, although she wasn't saying anything. She may have just sitting in the corner going, I'm not sure, but That's what Takora does a lot of. She observes and she says her mm-hms as approval. So they were talking, and Joseph and Chelsea were talking about the power and what Quinn's power does and what it lets him do. And I thought about that as they talked about. They also talked about Cedric and Tucker as far as ability to win competitions. Kenny, they talked about the AI arena, and I forgot, and I don't think about it, but unless you played in the AI arena, the house guests have not seen it. They don't know what those competitions look like. They only know what they've been told. And Joseph said, he wouldn't mind playing in the AI arena because from what he's heard, the competitions aren't very physical. Now, the first one where they ran around and looked at videos, no, not very physical. The second one with the puzzle building, there was a physical aspect to that. It wasn't an extremely strenuous one, but there was a bit of a physical component. And they don't realize that because all they heard was it was a puzzle, right? So all they heard was puzzle, so they're not thinking that there's going to have to be a lot of running and back and forth. But there was a little bit of that. So I get why production isn't letting the house guests that aren't in the AI see it, because they want that reaction to when they walk back into the house. And if they got to watch the competition, they would know who won before they entered. And so they kind of want, I think they want that reaction of, oh my gosh, because they could watch on a TV screen. They can watch the competition. Instead, they're just sitting in the room just waiting for that competition to play out. And, and one of the house guests to be safe. So that conversation happened. And then they were talking about, Joseph was trying to understand through Chelsea what Quinn's power is. And Chelsea was describing it, and Joseph is kind of like going so can he replace all, if I was head of household, could he replace all my nominees? And then Chelsea's like, well, no, he has to declare he's doing it before nominations. And again, this is how I think it's going to work. I think that, let's say it's Joseph. If Joseph wins head of household, that Quinn would say, I'm invoking my power, and Joseph would get magically removed from the house and locked in a nether region and not be able to do anything. And he would be presented as an AI bot in the booth and would make his nominations and everything, which would be Quinn's nominations. Whereas Chelsea is taking it as, oh no, Quinn you'd still get to Joseph. You'd still get your head of household room, but Quinn would direct all of the nominations. He might talk to you and have your input, but he would be the actual one doing all of this. That's not how it's going to work. And since everybody knows that Quinn has the power now, I'm not sure how much he'll just talk about it and say, yep, this is what's happening, this is going to happen, or we're going to make nominations, you guys will find out who. Or will Quinn be, it's going to be weird because Quinn's not going to need to keep it secret. So they're going to know that Quinn is the one making the nominations and making the moves. It's just, it's going to have this deep fake side to it, but it's not going to be as interesting as it could have been if it had been kept quiet. But that's what happens with, Big Brother twists. They generally don't go the way people hope they would. All right, so anything else going on? That was that discussion. Just the fact that the house guests don't really know how the power works or understand it. But again, I still think they're going to know that if Quinn stays in the house this weekend and when he uses the power next week, because he will use the power, if they understand how it works. I don't think they do at this point, so we'll have to see. Do I have anything else for you? I do not think I do. I think that's enough. I think we're going to keep this one somewhat short. We're pushing 9 minutes, so it's already longer than I intended. But there's nothing on the plan on the horizon to happen tonight. Tomorrow, maybe. They really are just sitting and waiting because they know that it comes down to who you guys pick for the replacement nomination for Mackenzie's play, right? Again, the only kind of game stuff that was going on was that I saw Rubina and Takora whispering. I retweeted someone else's tweet about that conversation, and part of it centered around Mackenzie possibly making moves trying to make moves, trying to put something together. Mackenzie and Tucker talked a lot last night. So, she's trying to make something happen. Seemed like there may have been some problems between Leah and Mackenzie, but that's to be expected because, it just is. It just doesn't surprise me if Leah and Mackenzie start to not be as close as they were, because both of them are seen as having worked with Matt, and they're both trying to distance themselves from each other to kind of carve out their own space. And so that's going to cause friction between the two of them, or cause them to, say not kind things about the other as they're trying to get in better with the other house guests. That's all I got. I'm going to sign off. Thank you for listening. Thank you for those of you who reached out to me today and gave me feedback on what they wanted to hear. I would still appreciate more feedback. A note just a note, because I did go looking today at lunch because I saw a comment. One person left a comment on my YouTube feed, which there is a YouTube feed for this content. It's just audio. There's no video. That's where I saw one comment. Another person, a couple people tweeted at me. And then one person, the YouTube one was the one I thought, well, if they're leaving comments on YouTube, are they leaving comments anywhere else? Because frankly, I can't see comments most other places. I would see them on Spreaker, if you left it on Spreaker. But most other places, I haven't looked at for reviews or anything lately. And I did check some like Spotify, saw my review number on Spotify, which doesn't shock me. I haven't looked at iTunes reviews lately. I will pull those up maybe later tonight. Maybe I'll figure out if there's any other sites that I can get reviews. Stitcher used to have reviews. Stitcher is no longer a thing, right? So I forgot about Stitcher until just now. I miss Stitcher. So that's all I got. I'm out of here again. Talk to you later. Thanks for all your support. Take care. Bye-bye.